On this week's episode, the pause button for the tread has finally arrived.
And what's Addie Love up to in London as she's off the platform for a little bit? And Reba McEntire Artist Series and much, much more.
Welcome to Pelo Buddy TV, a show for the Peloton community by the Peloton community. Here are your hosts, Amanda Siegel and John Pruitt.
Welcome to episode 75 of Pelo Buddy TV, a show for the Peloton community by the Peloton community. I'm Amanda Siegel, and I'm joined by my co-host, John Pruitt. Hey, John.
Hey, Amanda. How's it going?
It's good. It's good. Back in Maryland and excited to be back on my tread. I'm telling you, that's the hardest part about being out of town is not having my tread. But yeah,
so deprived. So deprived.
When
it's such a shame. It's such a shame when you have to slum it up in your building's fitness room.
I gotta tell you though, I was using the tread in the building and it was fine. It absolutely worked fine. So encourage you folks out there that don't have one to either take it on the road or take it in the gym. But yeah, John, I think we're going to go ahead and get right into it. Everything good with you? I'd hate to just think it was all about me.
Everything's good. Another week has flown by. It was nice. It was a nice break actually with a pause and reflect because I took it easy over those 3 days and I actually did some on-demand stuff to catch up. So it was nice.
Yeah, I have to say, I actually did too. And I actually really just gave my body a break. I did very little. I did very little and it felt good. It was all good. So I think it was not only, and it was fun to see what the different instructors were doing all over the place. They all seem to have had some fun times out there. Loved the fact that Jermaine and Robin found themselves at the same resort. I don't even think it was planned. I don't know if you saw that. Did you see that?
No, I missed that one.
Yeah, Robin Arzon and Jermaine were landed up at the same resort in Mexico, which was so fun to see. Yeah, it was really fun to see. And I guess Kirsten Ferguson and Jess Sims, I think they went together, but they were away together. And of course, we saw Andy and Rebecca out in Sedona.
Yep, in Sedona, Arizona.
Yeah, and Ben and Leanne out in Scotland, and they bumped into some members and said they had an amazing experience. So yeah, it's always fun to see. But I'm glad everybody got their time away and raring to go. So that was last week, but let's get on with it, John. So folks, before we get started with the news, we do like to always remind you how to keep up to date with all of our content across all of our platforms. Every episode is released on our YouTube channel. Just hit the subscribe button in the bottom right hand side of the video and hit the notify button to make sure that you never miss an episode.
Yep. And if you want to just listen to us, we're on all traditional podcast platforms. Just search Pelo Buddy, click subscribe, hit notifications so you don't miss an episode. And please leave us a review. We love reading some of the great reviews that we've received over the past couple weeks. So we really appreciate the feedback and we love to hear how we can improve the show.
Yeah. And with that being said, John, I'm sharing a review from Oxo, Paul Oxlade. Had gone ahead and submitted a review. Paul said that he had a great deal of time to listen to these podcasts. Oh, sorry, he did not have a great deal of time to listen to these podcasts previously, but an unfortunate back injury has meant less time exercising, but more time to listen to our podcast. He goes on to say a great show with a nice balance of sharing info and now sharing member picks. Keep up the great work, and I will definitely listen to it weekly, even when I'm able to train again. Looking forward to next week's show already. So thank you so much, Paul, for the review. And yeah, as John said, if anybody else has a review or would like to share, their thoughts on the show, we do love to hear that. And folks, finally, we are on Facebook and Instagram and of course Twitter. So just search the Pelo Buddy logo and follow us on those platforms for all of the latest news. And now, John, let's get on with the show.
First, let's do a rundown of the latest Pelo news.
For our Peloton Tread crew, you are no longer needing to keep your pee in or ignore the delivery guy, because Peloton have now rolled out the long-awaited pause button feature on the Tread and Tread Plus 2. So a pop-up has been appearing on on-demand classes with a reminder that when a class is paused, the tread will slow down until it comes to a complete stop. You'll have the option to lock the tread yourself, or it will automatically lock after about 45 seconds, the typical 45 seconds. Reminder, folks choosing to pause a class will lose their rank on the leaderboard, but you will still have the ability to hit your PRs, your milestones, and complete challenges. So if you're on the hardware, treads or bikes, you are not able to pause a live class. But if you're using the app, you are in fact able to do so. So if you are using a regular tread and you're on the app, it does allow you to pause in a live class, because I guess you aren't on the leaderboard anyway with, being on the app. So, so yeah, I guess a long-awaited little bit that people have been asking
update.
for. Yeah. I
personally, I just used the pause button for the very first time last week on the bike, though.
Okay.
And it was during a cool down. Like nature was calling. I couldn't wait for the end of the cool down. But yeah, as soon as you have to hold down the pause button for a few seconds. And then when I resumed it, when I came back from the bathroom, I noticed my leaderboard rank. It was just like there was a hash mark through it.
Yeah, exactly.
But I noticed it on the tread this week. I don't do that much on-demand stuff on the tread besides a warm-up or a cool-down walk.
Okay,
but,
yeah.
I know it's been, one of those things where everyone wants it. When it's on the bike, they want it on the tread as well. So we finally have it on both now.
I think as folks have said, and we've seen we've seen certainly the comments on the Pelo Buddy Instagram page and website. Look, it's great for moms. I mean, for people that just need to hop off if they're on demand, it does make sense. I know some people are irritated by it, but I mean, don't use it. It's there for if you want to use it, and if you don't need to, you don't need to. So I think it's nice that it's now on the tread as well.
Yeah. Well, Allie Love has a special secret project that has taken her away across the pond to London for the next 6 or 7 weeks, Amanda. I'm sure you saw some of her Instagram posts and in her stories about this. She says it's a surprise dream project. She says she has no plans to teach at the London studio, but will be back to New York throughout those coming weeks to teach live classes during that time. She says there's going to be plenty of, coach to camera on demand content that she's also going to be dropping while she's away. But she says to stay tuned to her social media channels and her Insta stories for the inside scoop of the major news. So I know there was a lot of speculation. I was thinking she was maybe going to be, I almost thought she was going to be in Celebrity Big Brother, or maybe she was going to be the host of some sort of reality show, like a judge.
Yeah.
I don't know what sort of shows are in London filming right now, but that seemed to be a lot of folks were making that comment.
That does sound like it could certainly be something. Celebrity Big Brother would be hard because they aren't really allowed to leave, and if she is going to be able to fly
they're
back
sequestered.
And forth, that would be harder. But the only thing that kind of and I'm just going to put it out there, that kind of bothered me a little bit is she's newly married. Did she leave Andrew behind? It looks like it. So is she going to be away from him for 6 weeks? But I guess.
Well, she said she's coming back to teach. She said she's coming back to teach. So I'm sure he'll travel over there. I thought it was really, on Chris Lewis's Pelo Buddy post when he announced that big news from Allie. There was a Insta user, I jotted down, her name's KK Hopkins. She commented and said, maybe another destination wedding. and Allie commented on that and said how funny it was. Yeah. But that cracked me up. And she has such a good sense of humor that she got a laugh out of that as well. But I'm sure we'll find out. I'm sure Chris Lewis or somebody's going to break the news. We'll get the scoop hopefully before Allie reveals it. Just as we figured it out before Cody announced that he was on Dancing with the Stars.
Yeah, true. I'm sure we'll know something. So let's hope that we get to find it out. And I'd be surprised if she didn't go past the London studio, at least to go and say hi to everybody and see it. So hopefully we'll get to see some bits and pieces there, which will be fun. So definitely look out for it, folks. But she is out of town. I guess she bid the Nets farewell. So there's, none of that going on and for now, and took a hiatus. So good for her. Good for her. Well, a podcast dropped this past week on sloanreview.mit.edu on the technology of Peloton guide. So machine learning, voice, etc. Sanjay Nichani, the Vice President of Artificial Intelligence and Computer Vision at Peloton Interactive, chatted with host Sam Ransbotham and got to describe how they are using voice-activated technology with their at-home fitness products like the Peloton Guide. So he spoke about how AI is used to coach members through strength-focused workouts with the guide. Definitely a incredible technology. Looking really forward, to see what folks say about the guide when it comes out. We've spoken about it before in the show. I don't plan to invest in it. So we're kind of relying on you folks that if anybody out there does end up getting it, to share that with us and let us know what it's like. But it was a great interview. It was a podcast. So certainly head over to pelobuddy.com if you do want to hear the full podcast.
I love how Peloton on the tread and on the bike, they're using a nice big section of that home screen on the tablet to promote the guide. It's like, boom, right there with the QR code. So they're taking advantage of that little advertising space to really get the word out there.
Yeah, I did see it. April 9th is the launch date, right? April 9th.
The 9th? The 9th?
Yeah, the 9th.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. It's just around the corner. Well, there was a fun video, if you happen to catch it on YouTube, almost the full 5 minutes of it's on YouTube. And I think Peloton posted either all of it or just a snippet of it on their Instagram page. But it gives kind of a behind the scenes and tutorial of Lanebreak. And Cody walks you through, using it, the step-by-step functionality and choosing the playlist. The little description says Peloton Lanebreak, our first gaming-inspired experience, is rolling out to our global community. Designed specifically for the Peloton Bike and Bike Plus, it combines heart-pumping music, immersive visuals, and fitness-inspired challenges to push members to their peak performance. Lanebreak is available to all access members that are on the Bike or the Bike Plus. And it's just, a lot of members haven't been enjoying it as a warm-up or a cool-down. I haven't really used it beyond just the one time I checked it out to like a Phil Collins In the Air Tonight. It was just like a one song game.
Yeah.
But I know.
I must admit, I haven't really been on the bike much, but I have not used it again, and I liked it. I mean, I did like it. So
yeah, it's cool.
I guess they're pushing it though. I saw a meme or a reel that Peloton put out with some of the instructors, words that they use in their rides that have popped up with a picture of the Peloton Lanebreak. So they're definitely trying to push it out there so that people will use it, which is interesting.
Yeah, it's fun. And I know John Michael was heavily involved with the playlist. So hopefully they continue to add to it. And I'm sure there'll be more music, more content as they, get feedback from others using it.
For sure. Well, moving on, another week, another artist series. This week's artist series featured legend Reba McEntire's Country Tunes. I do love Reba. That is one really cool woman with some amazing songs out there. The classes began on Wednesday, this past Wednesday, the 23rd, and it included 5 classes across 4 modalities. So there was a 20-minute full body strength with Selena Semuela. That dropped at 10 a.m. Eastern time on Wednesday. A 20-minute run in German dropped at 1 p.m. Eastern time with Jeffrey McErkin. And a 20-minute run with Matt Wolpers was live at 7 p.m. Eastern time on Wednesday. That was followed by a 20-minute Pilates class with Kristen McGee. That also went live at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. And the series ended with a 30-minute ride with Jess King. And that was at 8 p.m. Eastern time on Wednesday. The 8 p.m. Eastern time, John, was actually kind of cool because it did give the Australian folks an opportunity to ride live, as that dropped at 11 a.m. on Thursday morning. So it was already Thursday morning for them. But they got to, if anybody was around, they got to ride live on Thursday morning. So I kind of like how they're doing these now, where they're, really are piggybacking one another. So there was the run, there was the Pilates, and then there was the ride, kind of all consecutively after the other. So I like how they're doing that.
Yeah, and they're really staggering. A lot of the live UK classes will be at 1:30 in the morning, Eastern Standard Time. So they're really spreading it out across the schedule now. Well, we had 2 Mother's Day classes, UK Mother's Day classes that went down on Sunday, March 27th. For UK Mother's Day, Hannah Frankson had a 30-minute UK Mother's Day ride that dropped. It came out as an encore. I guess it was previously recorded, but it dropped as an encore ride at 4 a.m. Eastern time on Sunday morning. And Jermaine Johnson taught a live 20-minute UK Mother's Day run that morning that happened at 4:30 a.m. Eastern time. So for anyone who obviously, I'm sure no one got up that early to do those classes, they are now available on demand for you to take. So check those out. I had a Mother's Day question. Since you grew up in South Africa, did you call your mother mom or mum?
No, I called her mom. And I find it so interesting. So 2 things. One is, in South Africa, you celebrate Mother's Day the same as the rest of the world. So we did not follow the English tradition of doing it in March. It was a May holiday. But no, we grew up saying mom. And the English and the Australians both use the term mum, M-U-M, which is kind of funny. But no, I said mum. She was my mum, and she was my mummy and not my mummy. But that's a good question.
Yeah, I was curious.
Right, so So for you folks that are looking for new resistant band classes, well, now you have a handful of classes that are available to you. So Hannah Corbin and Andy Speer dropped some classes. You can find them under strength, and then using the filter, just click resistant band, and they'll pop up right there. There are actually lots to choose from. So there are 3 core classes. There are 2 10-minute core classes and 1 20-minute class. There's a 20-minute upper body, a 15-minute lower body, and a 20-minute full body. Hannah also dropped a 10-minute upper body. So for you folks, pull out those dusty resistance bands and get your strength game on. I know that I have my bands. They came when I got my tread. In fact, it came in a package with my yoga blocks and did you get it too?
Yeah, and they're in one of the zipper pockets of my tread. You know, in the base, you have those zipper pockets. I think I've used them once for a Hannah Corbin class a long time ago, but they're nice bands. They're in there.
They're great.
There's, three sets of them. They're nice.
They are great bands. So I'm definitely going to try out some of Andy's classes for sure. And folks, if resistant bands are not your thing, but Pilates is, there are 2 new classes that dropped. One with the DT, which was a 20-minute Holi Pilates class. For those of you unfamiliar, Holi is an Indian tradition, and the class was celebrating the Holi holiday. And she dressed up too beautifully in her tie-dye. It's got to do with paint, and I did research it up a little bit, but it's got to do with celebrating colors and paint, and they have parties. And Aditi posted a lot of it on her Instagram, having gone to some parties and being covered in paint. They do like dry paint. They spray dry paint. It's just a really fun holiday. I don't know the meaning behind it. I apologize, but yeah, it was nice that she got to celebrate that holiday with the community and with us. I didn't get a chance to do that though, unfortunately, but it looked fun. And then of course, as I mentioned in the Reba McEntire artist series, Kristen McGee had a new Pilates class that dropped there as well. So that's new on the platform.
Cool. Well, Peloton had announced last week an upcoming virtual event, which was held and took place on Friday, March 25th in honor of Women's History Month. The community discussion, it was called The Power in Identity, and Peloton had sent out, I didn't receive an email, but they had sent an email invitation to members earlier in the week that said, to mark Women's History Month, we'll be hosting a live conversation on strength and identity with instructors Camila Ramon and Charlotte Weidenbach and Dr. Heather Irobunda from the Peloton Health and Wellness Advisory Council. It went down at noon Eastern time last Friday. I didn't obviously attend that, but yeah, hopefully there's a recording of it. If you can go back and watch it on demand, I'm sure we'll have a link. Chris Lewis will put a link up on pelobuddy.com.
Yeah, for sure. And if you're one of those that
flash sale,
can't stomach paying full price for the apparel, on Thursday, Peloton did an apparel flash sale. So hopefully you were able to pick up some things then. From what it seems, they are desperate to get rid of their inventory. Merchandise was being sold for ridiculously low prices, $15 for a bra top. I did have to
desperation is a stinky cologne, Amanda. Was there any? I only read about women's pieces. Was there any men's related clothing that was?
Yep.
Okay.
There were some shorts. There were some shorts. There were some t-shirts. There was a fair amount of stuff. I mean, there really was a fair amount of stuff that was on there, and that was just kind of the under 35. So the flash sale was just pieces of article of clothing that were under 35. But there is a ton of stuff on sale, and I actually noticed a lot of the stuff was all the Width brand for the women. So the bra tops and pants. So I'm not sure if they're just trying to get rid of all of that. So that was, if any of you still want some stuff, I mean, just seriously, I'm done. I'm done. I have no place to put it. It's crazy. Yeah, John, and I guess we go right into Instructor in the News. So first up, the amazing Michelle Konstanovsky. Oh, Michelle, I hope I didn't butcher your last name. Did it again this week. she got to interview Kirsten Ferguson for Shape magazine on becoming a mom after miscarriage. And for someone that's dealt with infertility myself, this article really resonated with me. Michelle writes absolutely exquisitely, and this article was truly a masterpiece. Although Kirsten's story is pretty amazing, folks. She did share how back in early 2020, she jotted down a dream on a Post-it note, and it said, "I'm going to be a Peloton instructor." Well, John, I've written down that on a piece of paper many times, and I'm still sitting doing a podcast and have not made it to being an instructor. So maybe I'm using the wrong paper or the wrong pen, but good for Kirsten and certainly good for us. The article talks about her life as a student at New York Fashion Institute at NYU of Technology, where she actually envisioned herself as a buyer. But she says that didn't work out the way that she had thought. And after a successful interview with the NFL, she went on to have a very successful 7-year career working her way up the corporate ladder. Her last event, interestingly enough, was the Beyonce Super Bowl halftime show, which she says was a mic drop moment. She goes on to say that there was nothing that she could ever do that was going to top that. And it was through the NFL that she had met her husband, or at the time her future husband, pro athlete, D'Brickashaw Ferguson. And they married in 2011. In 2013, she stepped away from her career and focused on becoming a mom. But as she says in the article, it didn't quite turn out the way that she had hoped. And she dealt with, much heartbreak in her fertility journey, with, awful miscarriage and, long-term pregnancy loss. But she says, she goes on to share, as we all know, she was fortunate enough, though, to ultimately get pregnant. And she says, which she never takes for granted. And she shares her 2 beautiful girls on social media so much. They are hysterical and quite sassy, just like their mom. She also goes on to share how she ultimately became a Peloton instructor. But what I do find quite funny was that she actually was a cycling instructor before Peloton. But when she auditioned for everything. And Peloton said to her, "What do you think about the tread?" And she went on to say, "Oh, I'm not a marathon runner." She also admitted that she hates running. Isn't that interesting? But she figured,
you and me.
Right. I mean, yeah. I think Susie Chan must be the only person that I know that loves to run and runs
and Bex
all the time, right? And Bex.
Yeah, and
Susie
Bex.
and Bex,
yeah.
You're quite right. Bex too. Susie and Bex just love to run. But Kirsten said, hated running, but she figured, what the heck, she did it. And as we all know, she's been so successful on the platform. As I said, it was a really beautifully written article in Shape magazine, but you can certainly head over to pelobuddy.com or shape.com and pull the article to read the full article. It was quite a long article. Yeah.
Oh, well, Hannah Corbin was recently interviewed on today.com, opening up about living with Hashimoto's disease. She shared her personal story in honor of National Autoimmune Disease Awareness Month. And she was, coming before she was diagnosed, she was saying, I'd fall asleep on the subway coming home from work and completely miss my stop. It just didn't make sense because she said she was sleeping 10 to 12 hours a night. And she said she had started to experience a lot of exhaustion. She said it was unlike anything she'd ever experienced. She was never able to power through. She said she was able to power through her Peloton classes, but she was running on just pure adrenaline. She started dropping out of her extracurricular activities and found herself canceling plans a lot with friends. And then just out of nowhere, she said she gained 15 pounds and described her entire body as feeling swollen. So in 2018, she said less than a year after her symptoms appeared, she was diagnosed with Hashimoto's disease, which is a common autoimmune disorder in which the immune system attacks the thyroid gland, causing symptoms like exhaustion and weight gain. And it says here, according to Dr. Eric Alexander, chief of the thyroid section at Brigham and Women's Hospital in Boston, Hashimoto's can occur at any age, but is more common with older individuals, and women are also much more likely to have the illness compared to men. And it's diagnosed through blood work, but this is something I'd never. This is a big reveal because I'd never heard her. I'd never noticed a weight gain or anything. Yeah. So she kept it pretty well hidden from the public eye.
Yeah. Well, good for her for coming out and sharing that, because there are a lot of women that have experienced and have the illness or the disease. So being able to, identify with somebody who is in the fitness industry, and, since we really idolize all of the instructors, it really is a nice way of her being able to share that. I always take my hat off to all of them for whatever they have to be able to share that. And then huge kudos to Marcelle Dinkins. She just ran a marathon in Virginia Beach. And she had it on her Instagram page that she was very damn proud of it. She did share the marathon on her social media. Her Instagram page is official Marcelle Fit. And she thanked the community. She thanked the Peloton community for all of the support and encouragement that got her into doing this. So huge congrats to Marcelle for crossing the finish line. I believe that was her first marathon. And even as a tread coach, it just shows you that, you don't have to run marathons. You can still be a very effective coach and not. And, it did prompt me to definitely try her classes. I have not been on the tread with her. So definitely somebody, I've heard amazing things. In fact, one of my Pelo friends runs with her a lot. So I definitely want to jump on and get to do that. So yeah.
She's in New York, right?
She's in New York. Exactly. Yeah. She's
I've been on a couple of her Insta Lives before, but I'm trying to remember if I've done one of her classes. I'm not sure.
All right.
Maybe just a cool down walk or run. But no, I enjoyed, chatting with her on one of her, post class Insta Lives that she does.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh. Well, we got some Cody news. A couple little tidbits with Cody Rigsby. He was featured in Us Magazine. This one is A Day in the Life with Dancing with the Stars alum Cody Rigsby. And it kind of just gives like a little, like this, particular day, what his routine was. He was teaching later that night, but it starts out 7 a.m. He begins each day with 2 glasses of water. And this is something I learned from him because he was pushing for a while to drink a lot of water first thing in the morning. So I always drink like a big bottle of just filtered water, first thing in the morning when I get up, because it kind of starts, kickstarts the immune system. But he says, it jumpstarts my body. He says of hydrating, it's a game changer. Then I have coffee and breakfast. He goes to 9 a.m. He said, mornings are important to me. When I tackle my many to-dos. While each day is different, I usually go to the gym, then have some meetings. I playlist for my classes, for when I teach in the evening. Then it jumps to 12:30 in the afternoon. He says, I'm thinking about my next trip. He says, while taking a dip in a pool. If I'm looking to have fun, I usually go somewhere LGBTQ plus, and have been scoping out flights and hotels. And then it goes into a advertisement for like his Capital One venture. Like they really
hysterical.
I cut that out because I'm not giving you free advertising Capital One, but it goes into plugging his Capital One partnership with, venture rewards with a credit card. So moving on to the next one. He was crafty the way he included that little tidbit about his credit card. Yeah, his travel rewards. Then it jumps all the way to, I don't know what happens between 12:30 and 7:15 at night, but it jumps all the way to 7:15. And it says he gets ready for his 30-minute pop ride. Cody says, I feel like that ride is a place where everyone comes together after long days of responsibility, and I thrive off of that sense of community, he says. It goes to 8:30 if I'm not out to dinner. My time is with his partner, his boyfriend, Andres, playing Smash Brothers and Mario Kart. Rigby says of winding down. So that's all we got. I know he's a bit of a night owl, so I'm sure it makes no mention of watching Drag Race UK or some of those Euphoria, some of those shows. He loves to stream.
Talk about right.
Yeah, there's definitely a few things left off. I mean, sure, he's making some TikToks here and there, but those were omitted. But staying on Cody. Cody was also just recently announced on the PR Newswire that he is going to be talking at the National Association of Broadcasters main stage to detail his work hard, play hard philosophy. The announcement was that social media star and Peloton fitness instructor Cody Rigsby will discuss his focus on making exercise fun and Peloton's impact on the multi-billion-dollar fitness industry during an NAB show main stage session titled "You're Doing Great, Boo," in conversation with Peloton's Cody Rigsby. This is happening in Las Vegas on Tuesday, April 26th in the afternoon. It's not clear if he's going to be there in person or if he's going to be virtual. But the NAB show, which is National Association of Broadcasters, it's held April 23rd to the 27th in Las Vegas. It's a premier event for content professionals in the media, entertainment, and technology sectors. The NAB is a premier advocacy association for America's broadcasters. It advances radio and television interests in legislative, regulatory, and public affairs. So I'm sure that'll be a fun watch once we catch that, and I'm sure we'll have the video of it or snippets of it once it happens. I don't know if it'll be streamed live, but I'm sure we'll catch it after the fact, after it takes place. Yeah, so stay tuned.
Yeah,
just around the corner in a month from now.
Yeah. And then lastly, our boy, Alex Toussaint. It's been announced that Alex will be taking over from Maria Menounos, Entertainment Tonight's host, and will be hosting the Interactive Advertising Bureau's 2022 New Fronts. The theme for this year's New Fronts is Stream On, in hopes of conveying how consumers and brands are going all in on streaming. It's set to take place May 2nd to the 5th in New York, and will both be in person and virtual. So I think that's quite a huge deal for Alex. So huge congrats on that.
Cool.
Yeah.
And happy birthday. Happy birthday. We can't forget birthday to the lovely Miss Bex Gentry, who is celebrating her birthday Sunday, March 27th. So happy birthday to Bex.
Yep. So as we release this, she will be partying it up for her birthday. Happy birthday, Bex. And I guess we go right into picks of the week.
Right.
So I will go ahead and start it off. I don't have too much. I was kind of pausing and reflecting this past week too, and did not get onto the platform too much. But I'm going to start off with my first pick, which is actually a 30-minute pop ride with Bradley Rose. It was from the 23rd. It's from Wednesday the 23rd. It dropped at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time, and it was fantastic. I have to say, Bradley kind of hinted that there was going to be a surprise on the ride, and he started the ride off, John, in a full zip-up, like cardigan, like one of those like jackets. And everybody was like, oh my God, he must be dying in that, in that thing. And kind of knew what was coming up, and I said, just wait for it, just wait for it. And it was actually quite funny because one of the songs that had played in the ride was Hot in Here, where, take my, and I don't know the lyrics. I can't sing the lyrics.
How's it go?
It's
getting hot in here, so take off all your
clothes. Yeah. So I was like waiting. I figured that is the perfect song for him to zip off that, that jacket and take it off. But we had to wait until he got to Dog's, to Dog Days Are Over. And it was actually National Puppy Day. Exactly. It was National Puppy Day, and he had his two gorgeous rescue pups on his T-shirt, on his tank top. So Chloe and, oh my God, I just blanked. What's the other one's name? I literally just blanked. It's going to have to come to
Benji?
me. No. Shoot. How could I know it? I mean, we talk about it all the time. In fact, he was so sweet because I know it is a shame on me. My pup wasn't well this past week, and I had said that to him, and he said that he actually reached out and asked me how she was doing. But all right, it'll come to me. I just can't remember right now. And I apologize, Bradley. Oh my goodness, there was going to be a huge shout out for the dogs. But it was I have to say, it was a great ride. It was a pup ride. He had Sean Paul, he had Little Mix, he had Nelly, Hot in Here, he had Florence and the Machine, E.T., Katy Perry, he had the Pussycat Dolls, Destiny's Child, and he ended it off with Ed Sheeran. So that was a truly, truly fantastic 30 minutes. So I encourage you guys to do it. Next up, and it may have to be the last week that I give him a shout out because I feel
Benny.
The last 2 weeks I've been... But I have to tell you that, and I did say last week that I was sure that it was going to be one of my picks of the week, and it is. And the best part about it is that before I went into recording, he messaged me to tell me that there are English subtitles on the ride. So now you all have to go out and go and do it because you will understand what he's saying. And in fact, so much so that I'm going to do it again because I really wanted to hear his passion. But he was amazing. He was emotional. I enjoyed the music. I got to tell you. I mean,
which ride? Did you say which ride this is?
So his 30-minute Helena Fisher Artist Series ride that he did last Friday, the 18th. It had dropped at 12:30 Eastern time. And he just sparkled. I mean, he was so emotional. You could see how excited he was to have done it. As a reminder, and I mentioned it last week on last week's show, but the fourth song in that ride was in fact the one that he used in his audition. So there was definitely a ton of emotion and joy for him doing that. And then I did a tread boot camp. I did Rebecca Kennedy's 30-minute pop tread boot camp from Wednesday. It was at 9:30 a.m. on Wednesday, the 23rd.
That was my pick. Wasn't that my pick of the week?
No, I think you picked her run. You picked
her hike.
You picked her.
Maybe it was her hike.
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay.
This was from this week. This week, and I got to tell you, I absolutely loved it. I loved the way she structured the run. She was incredibly motivating. She, the songs that she had were, she had Whitney Houston. She started off with How Will I Know with Whitney Houston. She went into Party in the USA with Miley, which is one of my funnest songs. I think it's such an awesome pop song. She had Elton John and Dua Lipa's Cold Heart, where she did her dancing. And I know you did something on that.
I did it. I was on that one live. Yeah.
Yes, I was on live too, but I was on app. Because I was still down in Florida.
Oh, okay. I was about to say I didn't see you because I can't see app.
It's so frustrating. It's so frustrating. But it was a full body, and I got to tell you, I hurt the next day. I definitely, her goblet presses that she did, and her lunges and her squats. I mean, I I don't do strength nearly enough, and I am making it an absolute habit to do a tread boot camp once, if not twice a week. Because I think that they're amazing.
It's how I get my strength in, because I'm just not
100%.
I don't consistently do the standalone strength classes enough, or really at all that much sometimes. So the boot camp really forces you into it.
So folks, so that was, again, as I said, from Wednesday the 23rd. So those are my 3 picks of the week. I will roll into, go ahead, John, you go ahead and do yours, and then we'll go through the members' picks of the weeks.
Yes, so I have just a little trifecta. So first up, Dennis's 30-minute 80s ride from Wednesday the 23rd. And it's funny because this one was I think it was at 10 a.m. Eastern time. And, Rebecca's 30-minute tread boot camp was at 9:30. So I had to her boot camp ended on the floor. So I had to quickly, 30 seconds before hers ended, I had to quickly put on my shoes and clip in for the Dennis ride and do a quick change, which I've done a couple times before. But this one, it was just a really good 80s mix of not the typical 80s playlist that I'm used to hearing on rides, but he had REM, Depeche Mode, Bryan Adams, Madonna, Chicago, finished it with a Debbie Gibson song, but it was a real fun 80s ride. And then I'm going to turn back the way machine about 2 years to a ride that I did in the studio on a Sunday morning. It was one of the last times that I was at the Peloton studio that used to be on 23rd Street in where was it? Where was the old studio? Chelsea. It's from Sunday, February 23rd, 2020. It's a 60-minute classic rock ride with Jen Sherman. But it was a packed studio. It's just if you really want to see what it's like when people were in the studio, because the studio is going to be opening, probably, hopefully in the summer, which we've heard. But if you want to just see that element of just the energy and the interaction that some of the instructors, like Jen, who interacts a lot with people in the studio, just how that chemistry is. This is a great class. I was in the front row off to the side by the mirror, off to one side. But it was just a super fun classic rock playlist. Billy Joel, Queen, Paul McCartney, The Stones, U2, Styx. She played some Grateful Dead for me. She played the song Ripple during the arms section, which is a great song. It worked well for upper body. The Who, Skinner during Guns N' Roses. Welcome to the Jungle. Everyone started swirling their towels around, doing a helicopter. So it's a super fun 60-minute class. And just one of the best times that I've had at the studio. And there's a lot of funny moments in there when she's interacting with me and different members that were in the studio for it. So it's a great class. If you've never done it, go back a couple years, check it out. It's on demand. It's still there. Hopefully it'll be there for a little while longer. And then switching over to the tread, I haven't done a lot of tread classes like boot camp or runs or hikes with Olivia, but on Thursday the 24th, I did a 20-minute pop run with Olivia Amato, and I ended up PRing. And it was some good sprints in there. I mean, I was completely exhausted because right after it there was a 30-minute Cody pop ride, which I was completely just gassed for. But she had a good mix of Dua Lipa, Gwen Stefani, Alanis Morissette. It was almost like an all-female artist list, with the exception of Fleetwood Mac, which I guess Stevie Nicks is the lead on that group. Brittany, Ariana, but it was a great class. She's really good on the tread. I mean, she's a great instructor, but I really enjoyed her on the tread as well, which I just ride with her on the bike. But those are my 3.
She intimidates me so much because she's like this high, and she's just so hard. I am very, very rare. I don't think ever run. I certainly haven't run with her. I may have done a couple classes with her. I think I've done some low impact where I know that she's not going to kill me and I won't die at the end. That's awesome.
There was a funny moment though during pre-show. She grabbed her lipstick and turned around to look at the mirror and like reapply her lipstick. So I posted that little moment and I said, thankful for the mirrors at Peloton Studios, New York.
That's too funny. I know. Well, everyone's annoyed that London don't have those mirrors. So
yeah, I like the mirrors. I need to see, because I like to see the reflection of what's on their bike tablet. I like to see, behind them.
It is kind of fun. All right, so let's roll into the members' picks of the week and share those with you guys. So first up, Daniel McKenna's 45-minute St. Patrick's Day Tread Boot Camp. And that dropped on the 17th at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Some of the comments were his energy coaching playlist, all fire. Members that had recommended this is Nunzia_L, Strong as a Mother, Miranda Land, and my good friend Atomic Blonde One actually had said to me that if there is one tread boot camp I need to do, it's got to be that one. So she didn't submit it to Chris, but I'm going to give her a shout out because I definitely want to go ahead and do that one. I heard it was really great. So so that's Daniel's 45-minute St. Patrick's Day tread boot camp.
And then switching over to the bike boot camp, Tunde's 30-minute 2010 bike boot camp from March 18th. This was submitted by Spinnin' Spice and Dopamine Chaser, who said it was a great workout and song choices, tough but doable with lasting efforts.
Awesome. And then we have,
we got Jermaine.
Yep.
Yeah, I've got Jermaine. Yep. So Jermaine Johnson's 30-minute arms and shoulder strength from March 18th. This was submitted by Miss Sarah Beth. She said, so challenging. My arms are still sore, but the playlist pushed me to the last second. My first strength class with him, but not the last.
Interesting. Yeah, awesome. And back to the bike. And since it was pause and reflect, I guess some folks decided to use this time to recover. So Sam Yo's 20-minute recovery ride from the 19th, it dropped at 10:45 Eastern. Bertha C. runs MD, who I work out a lot with, who's just amazing. Live Your Spirit and P. Thumb all recommended this as a pick. Bertha said soothing and serene. Somebody said peace and such a good head body space. So, and they're awesome. They're awesome. So that is definitely one that I would want to jump on.
All right. So switching over, we had a couple people recommend Cody's 15-minute pop ride from March 19th. I did this one. I think it was one of those ones that was just a coach to camera on-demand drop. But it was just a nice little 15-minute tack on to, I think, a 30-minute ride I did before that. But it was submitted by Work and Stony Baby. And they said, great playlist.
Awesome. And then Kendall Toole's 30-minute hip-hop ride from the 23rd. It was a nice and early one, 6 a.m. Eastern time. Fit and Freckled and Pickles in PA both recommended it. And they said playlist and efforts are fire, the music and intervals. So I can only imagine that she was all out on that one. So thanks for that recommendation. And nice. Then I guess you mentioned Dennis's.
So that was mine. Yeah. Mine's already in there.
Yours. Then Callie Gullickson, Lili La recommended Callie's 10-minute arms and shoulder strength. Also from the 23rd, it dropped at 10:40 a.m. Eastern time. Lili La just recommended it. There was no specific comment on that.
And we've got couple people recommended Matt Wilper's 20-minute Reba McEntire run that happened on the 23rd of March from Susan ATX and twin dad Matt. They said, great pace, and Reba.
Yeah, those country fans out there. And then last up is Kristen McGee's 20-minute Reba McEntire Pilates. So I guess folks were actually doing, as we spoke about in the when we spoke about the artist series, really did, because Susan ATX actually did recommend both. So she must have gone straight from Matt's run into the Pilates class, which I think is amazing. Awesome music, and Reba herself was giving high fives. So I did see a lot of people comment on that apparently she was on the platform, and she was, in fact. So that one was recommended by Susan ATX, Namaste Biking, Bertha C, Runs MD, and Had Me at Coffee. I love that leaderboard name, Had Me at Coffee. So those were all, except I'm not a coffee drinker, I'm a tea drinker, but it's a cute name. So thank you folks for sharing those picks of the week. I think they have been really, really well received. Folks are loving them. So
we didn't get a pick from Skitchick 15.
No, we did not.
Ski chick. Ski chick 15.
That was me last week.
Skitchick.
Skitchick, yeah. But we got a nice bunch. So thank you all for doing that. And I guess, John, that pretty much wraps up the show. So
that does it.
Yeah. Thank you, folks. Thank you again, as always, for taking the time to give us a listen or a watch. Hope you get to do both, or one or the other, I should say. And as John said, leave us a review if you are enjoying the show. If there are things that you want to see, let us know. But I think we pretty much give you what you want. And from what I understand, on Chartable, we are just pushing our way up that ratings ladder.
I know, we were up 30 spots. I don't know what that is based on or how that even works, but we're climbing, John, currently.
But we're taking it. We'll take whatever we can. Again, we just want to share with you what's been going on in the Peloton world for the week. Make it fun. Make it ad-free. And have you enjoy us. So yeah, from me here down back in Maryland. Bye for now, everybody.
And from me in Michigan, thank you for tuning in, listening, and watching us. And as always, we will see you on the leaderboard.
Thank you for watching Pelo Buddy TV, your source for everything Peloton, by the community, for the community. Work out with us using the Pelo Buddy TV leaderboard tag, and find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Pelo Buddy. Don't forget that we have a podcast available so that you can listen to us while on the move. Just search for Pelo Buddy TV on any major platform and hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode.